In volleyball, it's France and Japan facing off for the bronze. And out at the Olympic Sports Complex, the finals in boxing. All of that on day 15 of the Goodwill Games.
You fell out of a clear blue sky to the darkness below.
Network Television proudly presents the 1986 Goodwill Games from Moscow and from Madrid. To the 1986 Goodwill Games from Moscow, Bob Neal.
Welcome to our final weekend of coverage of the 1986 Goodwill Games. This is day 15 here in Moscow, and the Goodwill Games are ending this weekend in a flurry of activity, Nick Charles.
Final weekend of competition finally has arrived, Bob. You're right. And the accent this afternoon rests heavily with the Soviet Union. From the inspiring, imposing women who have totally controlled the gymnastics to the quality and quantity of the Soviet boxers who fight tonight for a gold medal. But there's more. We'll leave Moscow twice during our afternoon coverage. We'll go to Spain for the bronze medal game in the World Basketball Championships. It's the high-flying, hot-shooting Brazilians against the Yugoslavians, who have a couple of players of their own capable of breaking the game open. And later in the afternoon, we'll leave the Russian Republic and take you to the Republic of Estonia for yachting off the capital city of Tallinn in the Gulf of Finland. So our coverage today figures to be vast and varied as the Goodwill Games continue this weekend. Bob?
And in gymnastics, we're going to be going to the venue live in just a moment. It's the final event, one of the most entertaining in my opinion. It's the women's individual apparatus competition. We'll be going out to the indoor stadium live in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll get started with our final weekend of coverage of the Goodwill Games. Well, we were all aware that the Soviet gymnasts were good. We started to become even more acutely aware when the men dominated that gymnastics competition. Then the women began a couple of days ago, and it has been Soviet women, 1, 2, 3 in virtually all of the events, and the depth goes on even beyond that. We're going now to a very entertaining event, the women's gymnastics individual apparatus competition. We're going to the indoor stadium, and there you hear our commentators, Charlie Neal, Bart Connor, and Kathy Johnson.
Welcome to the Olympic Sports Complex. It's our final day of coverage in women's gymnastics competition. Today we have the individual apparatus finals, in which the top 8 gymnasts on each apparatus from the team competition will compete for the individual apparatus gold. And Kathy Johnson, this promises to be a very, very exciting day.
We are in for an incredible competition. In fact, all the top performers in every event are coming in with 9 9s or better. So it's going to take near perfection to take a medal. The Soviets will be the standouts again, but there are some highlights from some of the other countries, so it will be a well-rounded competition.
Okay, Bart Connor, as far as the United States is concerned, we could very well walk away with a medal today.
Well, we have some high hopes, I'll tell you. We have 3 competitors from the U.S. competing here. Angie Dankins, Hope Spivey, and Joyce Wilburn. Now, our biggest hopes, of course, lie with Joyce Wilburn, because in floor and in vaulting, she's in the finals with a 9-8 in floor and a 9-9 in vaulting. And if she puts together a couple of vaults, she could be the first medal winner for the United States. In fact, she could be the first medal winner from any country from the Western world.
It's the individual apparatus finals.
And you're looking at the warm-ups for the vault, the first event in our apparatus finals. And we talk about a little bit in the opening about the top scores. It's kind of ironic, the draw kind of odd that the high scores in all the events, Kathy and Bart, are either leading off or in second place.
Tell you what, that can be an advantage and a disadvantage. It's sometimes good to go first, get it over with, and just apply the pressure to those after you. But also, sometimes with the judging, the scores tend to go higher, and they wait till those last girls go up.
This is still in the warm-up.
Первый опорный прыжок выполнит Джойс Уилборн, Соединенные Штаты Америки.
Now, the first young lady that we're going to see, that was the Soviet that you saw warming up right there. But Joyce Wilborn of the United States, she finished with the second highest score in the team competition. She came away with a 9.90. You're looking at her right now. She's 15 years of age from Paterson, New Jersey. Attends John F. Kennedy School there, trains at the North Stars Gymnastics Academy. What they will do with the women's score is each lady will take 2 vaults, and they'll average out the scores of the 2 vaults, add them to the preliminary score. That'll come up with a final score.
And we talked about high hopes. Joyce is the first competitor. We talked about the advantages and the disadvantages of being in that position. We're going to know right here. She's got to do 2 vaults, and she's got to stick them if she hopes to get a medal here.
Joyce Wilborn.
The first vault will be a layout with a full twist. Oh, a layout super hard.
And she stuck the landing perfectly.
She changed her strategy because I talked to the coaches before, and she was going to do the full twist first and then the layout. That's actually the weaker of her 2 vaults, but she does it so magnificent. Look at the height. And a great landing.
As we mentioned earlier, she had a 9.9 in the team competition. The field in this 8-member vault field, there were 2 9.9s and a 9.95.
And actually, Charlie, the rest of the 6 competitors are basically out of the competition because it's very hard to make up a couple of tenths of points here in the event finals. Joyce is going to do her second vault, which will be the same vault that we just saw with a full twist. It's that much harder.
Well, these are the scores from her first vault, which is about a 9.8 average. And they'll take this score, add it to her second vault score, and then average the 2 scores.
You know, all week long we've been seeing 4 judges, but in the final competition they're using 6 judges per event.
9775, rather, is the score for Joyce Wilborn on her first vault.
Now, this is the crucial vault. Much more difficult. And as you said earlier, Bart, the key to winning a medal here is going to be sticking the landing.
Second vault for Joyce Wilborn.
She can do this vault better than anyone else in the world if she can just stick.
Oh! She had a step on the end. She was picture perfect until the landing.
It was a gorgeous vault, great height. The most impressive part about it was the distance from the horse.
In fact, she looked a couple of feet farther than she actually did in the preliminary competition. The step will probably cost her a tenth of a point. But still a very fine effort.
And it was a good chance for her to pick up at least a silver medal, possibly even a gold, depending on some of the other contestants who are following her, like Shevchenko, who's next, and look, not bad second score either. They'll average the 2. 9.775, I believe. Looks similar to her first score right there. 6 judges again.
You drop the high and the low, and you average the 4 in the middle. And, of course, it looks like to me the average there. Oh, one of the scores came up. Well, still, I think it'll be a 9.8 average.
We're enjoying the competition here. We've enjoyed it for the last three days. The women have just been fantastic. As we look at Joyce Wilborn, she's awaiting her score.
And there's Don Peters, her coach, the coach of the American team at this competition. He's adding up the points as well.
9.80 for her second score. So her average will be 9.788 for Joyce Wilborn. As we look at Shevchenko of the Soviet Union, Yelena Shevchenko, 9.9 in the preliminary.
And she is a dynamite gymnast, very new on the Soviet team. She performs a double twisting suit. Now, I'll be interested to see if she does it first.
She is 14 years of age. She didn't even make the all-around, even though she tied Oksana Omelianchik for 3rd place. That shows you how deep the Soviet team is.
Now, she does a different approach to the board. She does a round-off just before hitting the board and goes backwards to the horse. Layout full twist. An excellent vault.
She needs also, Shevchenko, a 9.788. Now, our current leader, as we watch the replay of Shevchenko, is Joyce Wilborn of the United States with a 19.688. They both came in with 9.9. So in order to tie our current leader, Wilborn, Shevchenko needs a 9.788 average.
Now keep in mind, both scores count on both of these vaults, and she is going to perform a double twisting souk.
I think it's important to note here as well that a score of 19.688 is deceiving on the scoreboard because the score is actually 19.6875. Because they don't have enough places on the scoreboard, they're rounding it up to 19.688.
9.9 on the first vault for Shevchenko. So it becomes close. She becomes the current leader.
And she's going to do this double twist, I'll bet you. Don't you think, Kat?
Oh, I'm sure she will.
She
It's
does
a very
this
risky vault.
the same vault that she did in the last run, except this time she's going to crank one more twist in there. We saw her do it in the team competition, and it is unbelievable.
She tied for second in the team competition.
Oh, what a vault!
And had no problems with the landing.
Beautiful position. You know, it didn't seem to me like she got quite as good of a push as she did on the first vault because she was so anxious to get cranking on that double twist.
She really didn't, and if you watch the landing, it's a little bit off, one foot slightly in front of the other, but it's so quick that the judges won't really take off for that.
We slowed it down and had trouble seeing it. Look at that, 9.9s across the board. So she's got the 9.9 that she needs, and she goes out in front for a total of 19.80. So she is the new leader with the 9.9 average. 19.80 is her total. She's in first place. The young lady you're looking at now is Chen Kui-ting, and she's from China. 15 years of age, had a 9.7 in the preliminary. Her team from China won the bronze in the team competition. And this is considered one of her better events.
Which is interesting because in the past, the Chinese have been very weak on this event. They've improved so much, and it's partly due to this new round-off vault. Layout full. Oh.
The China doll, as we have affectionately called her the last couple of days. Everyone has fell in love with the young lady from China.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
You know, she seemed to have everything going for her right here. She had good reach to the horse, fantastic push. I think she was trying too hard to stick it. She was going to put those feet back there and make sure she nailed the landing. We talked about how important it is that the gymnasts in the finals nail these landings. I think she put her feet a little too far back, trying to stick it too hard.
She comes into the competition with a 9.7. Remember, Shevchenko is already through. She's in first place with a 19.8. Wilborn is in second with a 19.68. This is Kui-ting, Chen Kui-ting of China. She needed a 10 just to move into second place. And you see her scores coming up now on her first vault, and it's going to be almost impossible, in fact, practically impossible for her to get that perfect 10. Her second vault coming up, 9.35, her first score. And the second vault forthcoming for Chen Kui-ting. She's 4'7", 68 pounds. You see why we call her the China doll.
Chen Cutie, I think, is rather appropriate. We don't know what her second vault's going to be. We've seen her do that vault she just did for the first vault all week long. But in the finals, the gymnasts are required to do vaults of 2 different classes.
And a tucked full twist. Just changed the body position a little.
And still a little problem with the landing for Chen Kui-ting.
She really doesn't have a second vault. She basically did the vault she did the first one, but this time she tucked it. And you can tell she's probably unprepared for the finals here because it would have been nice to do that in a laid-out position or with another twist, but certainly a different vault from the first one around.
As you look at her, she finished 6th in the team competition. Going into the all-around, she moved up to 4th because the 2 Soviets couldn't even compete because of the country limit of 3. She lost ground in the all-around, finished 6th. Well, she'll also compete later on the balance beam here, but we'll await her second score. She got a 9.35 on her first score. Chen Kui-ting of China. Her team won the bronze medal in the team competition.
We really saw a new philosophy with the Chinese gymnasts. In the past, they've been very flexible, elegant gymnasts, but not very strong. She shows a good balance between the elegance and the new strength that the Chinese are so trying to achieve.
Remember, Shevchenko's in first, Wilborn is in second, and we still have Elena Shushanova coming up. And Elena comes in with a 9.95, the highest score of all the competitors in the vault. The second scores for Chen Kui-ting of China. And the judges having a little discussion over there on the sideline. There's 6 judges on the vault competition.
I think part of the discussion here is that she made a mistake by doing basically the same vault as the second vault here, and the judges have to decide if they're going to make that deduction of not only was it not a perfect vault, but she did the vault of the same class that she did the first vault, and of course that should be a deduction.
9.4 is the low, 9.7 the high, with 3 9.6s sandwiched in between as we look at some of the other judges.
You're seeing here Lyudmila Tereshcheva, otherwise known as the Queen of Gymnastics, a very top Soviet gymnast in the past.
And she's working as a referee. She's helping arbitrate when there are conferences and when there are differences of opinion with the judges.
9.65 is now the final score on the second vault for Chen Kui-ting, averaging out to 9.50. As you look at the young lady from China, we'll continue with more Goodwill Games coverage in just a moment.
We're going to go back live to gymnastics, and here's Charlie Neal.
Thank you very much, Bob Neal. The young lady you're looking at on the vault is Wang Huiying. She's from China. This is her first vault.
Another layout, Tsukahara with a full twist. A little bit of trouble on the landing. It almost was as if her legs gave out.
I'm sure the girls are tired. They've been competing for 3 days in a row. She did a decent vault, a little off on the landing to one side, and of course that will be at least 1/10 of a point deduction. I think it's important to note that she did a layout Tsukahara with a full twist. She did the same vault as Joyce Wilburn from the United States, but she didn't do it quite as well, and of course you can see in the score, the average will be 9.6.
And she needs a 10 to move in the second place. That's where Joyce Wilborn is now, and it's going to be hard for her to get that. While we were away momentarily, Saidon from Romania scored a 9.6. She's currently in third place. Second vault for Wang Huiying of China.
Layout Tsukahara, one step on the landing. Again, that's a relatively simple vault. She did it well, but really not as well as Joyce did.
And I think a good point you make here is that if you're going to do a simple vault, you better do it perfectly. She has nice position in the air, but she has to nail that landing if she wants the big score.
9.60 was her first score as we watch again. She winds up with a 9.70 on her second score.
Of the 8 gymnasts competing in the finals, she is one of 3 who are actually doing the traditional vaults of the regular round-off rather than the round-off onto the board.
So she has a 19.350. That moves her into third place right now behind Shevchenko, Wilborn, and Wang. But this is the young lady who is the favorite coming in. Elena Shushanova, Soviet Union, a 9.95 on the vault in the preliminary competition.
And she is incredible on this event. She is so strong. Layout, full twist, stop landing.
That's what we talk about when we talk about sticking a landing.
We have to mention the fact that yesterday in the all-around, as we watch a replay, she finished the day with a 10 on this apparatus.
The only weakness in this vault is she doesn't get the distance as some of the other vaulters get.
She has a tremendous push here, and she really blocks right here. And, of course, that gets her way up in the air and allows her to just set the landing right in on top.
She has a 10 on the board already today. It won't be perfect 10s, but she's up there among the top. 9.25. 9.925. She had a 9.95 coming in, a 10 in the all-around. So right now she's ready to take over first place. 9.85 average would give her first.
Now on this second vault, if she could get more up on top of the horse, she could get a little more distance and maybe go for a 10.
Oh!
Twisting
I have never seen that vault attempted before.
And the crowd on hand really enjoying the work of the young Soviet.
What's so difficult about that vault is the landing. Anytime you come in, it's a blind landing facing away from the horse.
You can see she's going to do basically the same vault, the round off back handspring on. Right here she cranks another half twist, and she lands facing towards us.
Here's another look at it.
It's hard to see from here how much distance she got off the horse. But it's such a difficult vault.
And the scores reflect that she's going to move out in front, and I don't see anybody can catch her for all practical purposes. She's going to win the gold medal on the vaulting event, unless they change some scores here and really drop her down, and I don't see that happening. 9.90, her second score, and they combine the two. And that'll give her a 9.913, and that score will total out to a 19.863. She's now in first place. Joyce Wilborn has a good chance of holding on to a bronze, though, right now.
Angie also does the traditional vault. She'll perform a Cuervo and a layout Sugihara. I'm not sure which one she's going to perform first.
Angie is from Willingboro, New Jersey.
It's a Cuervo vault. Oh.
Little trouble on the landing. Had a 9.75 in the preliminary. She had the third best score coming in.
You know, it's really unfortunate here because she gets really good height, but you'll notice she's lacking in rotation. This is a very difficult vault to rotate. It's too bad because she had great height and great distance. But you can see in this angle right here, she pushes off, does a half turn, and now she's going to pull a backflip. She is up there, but that's a lot of cranking to get all the way around, finish your rotation in time to land.
Now remember, Joyce Wilborn is in third place. She has a bronze right now. In order for Angie Dinkins, her country mate, to tie her, she would need a 9.9375.
And I don't believe she's going to get it. You can tell there, of course, the scores in the first vault will hold her down.
Bart, I think she was going for the stick as well. You could see how she opened up, trying to make that perfect landing.
You know, as a matter of fact, I don't think anybody left in the competition. There's only one other girl besides Angie, Gabriela Patorac from Romania, who has a shot at catching Joyce Wilborn. And as a matter of fact, I don't think even a perfect 10 would allow her to overtake Joyce Wilborn.
Angie's second vault will be a layout Sugihara. She does this vault quite well. See if she can stick. Still a little low.
Second vault. Had a 9.425 on the first one. She's 17 years of age, has been on the national team the past 2 years.
She actually did the vault quite well. But as she made the landing, the knees just bent way too far.
Now you can see here again, she is really up in the air. Nice form. Perfect body position right here. She's hollowed out, but she's got to meet that floor a little harder if she's going to actually stick the landing.
I mentioned she needed a 9.9375. She comes up with a 9.60 on her second vault. The average between the first vault, a 9.425, and a 9.60 is a 9.513. Not enough to move her into contention for a medal. So Dinkins now moves into sixth place, and we'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage in just a moment. Stay with us. With Kathy Johnson and Bart Connor back here, the finals of the vault are already in, and the United States finally comes away with a gymnastics medal. Joyce Wilborn from Patterson, New Jersey, winds up with a bronze, while Elena Shushanova, which is not much of a surprise, walks away with a gold medal. Her countrymate, Elena Shevchenko, comes away with a silver. Let's go back to our broadcast center and Bob Neal and Nick Charles.
And there are the standings, the final results in the women's gymnastics. Yelena Shushanova, the Soviet Union, and Joyce Wilborn did win the bronze for the United States. And that surprised some folks, but Joyce Wilborn came back with a strong performance despite a couple of problems with landings, but overall did pretty well. And with the dominance of the Soviet women, just to get into third place is certainly something that's worthwhile in this competition here. As Bart Connor said when he was on our late night program a couple of days ago, the Soviet gymnasts have proven in these Goodwill Games that in fact they have widened the gap between their performances in this sport and all the rest of the world, not just the United States, but Romania, China, Bulgaria, and all the other powers. Well, Paul Ryden has been doing some interesting reports for us. The Soviet system mandates some form of exercise for school children and encourages exercise in adults as a way of staying healthy. But if you thought that aerobics classes were something only Californians and stressed out New Yorkers subscribe to, then Paul Ryden's report will open your eyes.
Soviet athletes in some sports have always excelled. There's a good reason, since great attention has always been paid the athlete who can bring honor to the motherland along with that gold medal. But big-time sport isn't the only game in town. It's exercise for the masses. It's on Soviet TV. Unless you think this is the product of an active PR man's imagination, think again. Lilia Olenova runs a class in the heart of Moscow for regular folks. Muscovites who, we're told, were looking to the Soviet Sports Committee for a little attention. An athletic trickle-down theory, if you will, from the big-time athlete to the common man and woman.
I'm fond of dancing, so that's here I can dance a little and I can just I can be fit for dancing, and I like to dance at home just with my mirror. And so here I get a little training, and besides, all of us are fond of our teacher.
When our women are more ready, more strong, that is, in about 4 years, then we'll also be able to do stronger gymnastics. Now what many women have to do is lose excess weight, work on their flexibility. Then we'll be more prepared for stronger gymnastics with stronger stomachs and arms.
Technically, the Soviets are running behind the U.S. in aerobic and fitness technique. The point is, they're doing something and enjoying it.
Of course, one man's exercise is another man's agony, and working out isn't for everyone. But at least now the point is, people have a choice to work out however they want to. For the Goodwill Games, I'm Paul Ryden. Little help.
Charlie Neal, Kathy Johnson, Bart Connor back here at the Olympic Sports Complex as we continue our live coverage of the individual event finals in women's gymnastics. We just saw the vault. We saw Angie Dinkins. Also in that particular vault event of the United States, she finished 7th, while Joyce Wilborn walked away with a bronze medal. It was the first medal the United States has earned in gymnastics competition here at the Goodwill Games. And now we're going to move our competition over to the uneven bars, where, Kathy, the level of difficulty has increased considerably over the last few years.
This event has really changed over the past few years. You'll notice that the bars are being put way out so that the girls can swing giant swings, major release moves like you see on men's high bar. It's become much more exciting.
So far, in the preliminary and team competition, the vault was the highest scoring event yet. The average score on the uneven bars coming in with the competitors, we'll see, there are 8 young ladies, 9.75. How would you rank that?
Well, it's a little bit harder in this event to get originality tenths, and that's why the scores are a little bit lower in this event. But we're going to see some really good routines here.
And, of course, Yelena Shushanova in the team competition really nailed her exercise and scored the first perfect 10 of the complete gymnastics competition to that point.
And also, besides Yelena Shushanova, there's a young lady named Vera Kolesnikova who came in with a 9, who's coming into the competition with a 9.8, as is a young lady from North Korea, Choi Milyan, who also had a 9.8. So this competition is going to be a little tight.
Sure is. Kolesnikova is really the surprise in this competition. She's not at all the top gymnast that the Soviets have, but she was just on yesterday.
And I think as much of a surprise that Kolesnikova was so awesome in her performance was the surprise that Shushanova actually had 2 major errors. All week long we have been really comparing her to Yuri Korleov from the Soviet Union's men's team, who is also probably one of the stronger performers. I don't think the best gymnast from the Soviet team, but he was so consistent. Whereas Shushanova, we expected her to be very consistent, had 2 major mistakes in the individual all-around competition and virtually handed the title to Vera Kolesnikova.
And it was ironic because Kolesnikova had to overcome a deficit of 0.6 in the all-around to win by 0.15, and she'll be the first young lady we'll be seeing here. We'll see her a couple times a day, in fact, and she's a joy to watch also.
Bart, it was just for that reason, her making those 2 mistakes, that I think Shushanova is really going to do well tonight. She has some added incentive.
You saw a couple of the women from the United States team. Well, I'll tell you, they do some real tricks here with cameras in the Soviet Union, don't they? You don't know whether the gymnast is right side up or upside down.
And it's kind of hard to tell anyway, even when there's really hard.
So the warm-up continues for the uneven parallel bars.
And this is Gabriela Patorak. We saw her in yesterday's individual competition on the balance beam. And she's an exciting little performer. She does lots of difficulty, but I don't believe she has the polish that we've seen from some of our Soviet champions.
Well, she's still very young.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the building that we're coming to you from. We're live here. It's called the Indoor Stadium. This complex, the Olympic Sports Complex, built in 1980. And right across from where we're seated, there's a movable partition. It's a soundproof partition that separates us from the boxing venue. 2 events can take place at the same time right here. And they understand the width of the movable partition is 26 yards. So no wonder it's soundproof. Here's the young lady we were speaking of earlier. There's the partition there with the Moscow 1986 sign.
I don't know if it's exactly soundproof because there's been some pretty exciting boxing going on, and we've heard some cheering bleeding through that big wall.
It certainly is. And in fact, the finals of the boxing is getting ready to start over there momentarily as we speak. It's part of 2 arenas that we're sitting in here, considered the most modern construction in the Soviet Union. Both halls have independent scoreboards. 16,000 can be seated in the arena in which we are in, the gymnastics arena, and 17,000 across the way for boxing. Meanwhile, the first competitor in the uneven parallel bars is about to mount the apparatus. This is Vera Kolesnikova.
Besides Shushanova, the top Soviet performers on this event really had problems in the team competition, and therefore Kolesnikova finds herself tied for second going into this, her weakest event. But it surely didn't look like a weak event for her yesterday.
Won the all-around. 9.8 was her preliminary score on the uneven bars.
Setting up. The reverse hecht, moving quite well. Now watch this next move. It's a reverse hecht. She catches in mixed grip, half turn, and drops right to the low bar. It's a 1.5 twist.
Oh, nice combination to the low bar.
She lost a little bit of form there on that twisting move. But other than that, she's working quite well. Double twisting flyaway.
Good performance. Vera Kolesnikova. 17 years of age. She hails from the town of Voronezh in the Soviet Union. She's 5'3". She visited Florida this past spring. Said she tried a little body surfing and really enjoyed it. Quite an athlete.
5'3", and she looks like a giant out there compared to the rest of the competitors.
She is tall.
Notice right here, she does the reverse hecht, sets herself up again when she kips to a handstand. Now she's going to do the same skill exactly, but as she regrasps the bar, notice she's going to cross her arms right there and do a half turn and regrasp.
She says that her teammates are her strongest competitors, and they are good ones.
There's that 1.5 twist. You can see a little leg separation, but it won't be a major deduction.
Didn't she do that move in competition, Kathy?
I sure did.
Oh, I don't think she did it half as well as you did.
That was a long time ago, Bart.
Kathy, you haven't been retired that long.
And a double twisting flyaway.
9.85, the score for Vera Kolesnikova on the uneven bars. So she's out in front now with a score of 19.650. Meanwhile,
as we look at her right now, Vera Kolesnikova. We'll also see her again on the beam. She says her idol is teammate Natalia Yurchenko. One of your favorites, too, Kathy.
She sure is.
Elena Shushinova, who won the gold on the vault.
Now, she has the potential to score a 10 on this event.
She had a 10 in the preliminary competition.
It's a nice reverse heck. She's so strong. And a ginger just like they do on men's high bar.
All she needs is a 9.65 to take the lead away from Kolesnikova.
And a half in, half out. Full twisting double.
That could be the other 10. She doesn't even need a big score to retain the lead in this competition on the uneven bars, but we could have just seen a second perfect 10.
There have only been 3 10s in the competition. There were none in the men's competition, all of them in the women's competition. We saw 2 yesterday, and that young lady holds 2 of the 10s.
And it's very conceivable if she gets a 10 here that she will have won the competition with a perfect 20 in the combined score of both performances. I don't know how you can beat anybody who gets a 20.
Especially when you don't have a 10 to work with to start out.
Look at that, the height on the ginger. That's a back somersault with a half twist to regrasp. She is like a machine on this event.
She has a 310 showing on the scoreboard and 3 9.9s. Pretty good. I think she's going to win it.
And a half in, half out. That's a full twisting double back.
6 judges. Take the top and the low, throw them out, average the middle. The middle 4 scores. Elena Shushinova had a 10 in the preliminaries, had a 9.9 in the all-arounds. She finished second to Kolesnikova in the all-arounds, who's the current leader. But you have to think that that's only going to be for the next few seconds until they change the scoreboard. Then she's going to regain or take the lead.
It's important to note right here that, did they change one of those scores?
9.95, and for all practical purposes, she has a goal because anything close to 9.80 was going to give her a goal because of the scores of the other competitors. So a 19.950, and for all practical purposes, she is the winner of the uneven parallel bars. And for a tie, Chen Kui-Ting will need a perfect 10.
She has such beautiful line on her handstand. Oh, just a little loss of control there. To Delchev, she makes the half turn and then does the front somersault to regrasp. Long jump from that low bar to the high bar.
So she's only 4'7" and I think 64 pounds.
And another half in, half out dismount.
Chen Kui-Ting, we saw her earlier on the vault. She came in with a 9.65, but she was going to need at least a 10 to tie for second.
Look at the perfectly straight arms on her giant swings. Is that Delchev?
Boy, that's a long reach down to that low bar.
Sure is, but her height really comes in handy when she does the giant swings between the bars. She has a lot of room in there to swing.
You got it.
She's waiting for her score. We've noticed sparkles on her face the last couple of days. I don't see them today.
Yeah, I think she left that great makeup, huh? Kathy made a good point about the straight arms on the giant swings. His excellent position in the whole exercise. And it's hard to believe that someone that little and that cute can actually be that powerful and that explosive.
The score's not that great as far as her standings are concerned, especially with Choi Mil-Yan of North Korea coming up. 9.60 should be the average if you throw out the high and the low. And that would give her a 9.60 for a grand total of 19.250. She's now in 3rd place. Remember, Shushinova has the goal. Kolesnikova right now is in 2nd place, and here's Choi Mil-Yan. She has a chance to tie for second with a 9.85. She could tie Kolesnikova. A 9.9 would give her second place, all alone.
The North Koreans have really progressed in gymnastics. It's a Jaeger front. She's moving quite well so far. Free hip to handstand, giant swing, and a heck back somersault off.
A little trouble on the landing there. She had the second highest score in the team competition, came in with a 9.8, tied with Vera Kolesnikova, who's now in second place. That was Choi Mil-yeon of North Korea.
You know, I think it's important to note here that these girls do nice work, but it's different because now they do less transitional moves from the high bar to the low bar. Partly because the bars are so wide apart, the judges do require that they go from the high bar down to the low bar, and in many cases, a lot of these girls are doing what I would call token gymnastic skills here on the low bar just to fill the requirement so they can get back up to the high bar and do some of the big tricks.
There's Kim Gumok, her teammate, who's getting ready for her uneven parallel bars, but the score coming up for Choi Mil-yeon of North Korea, I said she needed a 9.85 to tie Kolesnikova for second. She may be in position for third place right now, which is held by Chin Kui-ting, a 9.75. And Mil-yeon of North Korea moves into third place behind Shushanova and Kolesnikova. And our Goodwill Games coverage will continue after this.
We're watching the third day of women's gymnastics, and the central character in the play has been Yelena Shushanova, high and mighty, and as we're beginning to see here in the Goodwill Games, the best in the world. Shushanova won a gold on the first day of competition, took silver in the all-around, and today a gold medal in the vault and now closing in on gold in the uneven bars. Yelena won the World All-Around Championships last year. Now at age 17, she's imprinted her name indelibly on the long list of brilliant Soviet gymnasts. Yelena, who does not speak English, lives and trains in the Russian city of Leningrad. Here's our Goodwill profile.
Leningrad is the most beautiful city in the world, in my opinion. It is very dear to me. I was born here. There are a lot of museums and theaters here. There are a lot of beautiful parks. The countryside is marvelous. The city itself is the history of Russia. When I have extra time, I like to go to the movies, and sometimes to the theater.
Yelena came to our sports institute in 1976, a giggly, foolish little girl. She was a lively girl, but there was nothing special about her except for her level of energy.
My parents took me to the gym for the first time to help burn off the excess energy. I was jumping from the bureau onto the bed all the time, and almost all the furniture was broken. Then I became very serious about gymnastics and worked out all the time and began to set goals for myself.
Yelena is different from other girls in that even when she is in a bad emotional state, she can overcome this and give 100% to her work. Some gymnasts have tremendous natural talent. This is not the case with Yelena. Her secret has been a great deal of very hard work, and this has led her to success. The fear factor is common to every normal human being, and therefore one can say that she has it too. However, Elena is very intelligent, as well as emotionally stable, so she has the power to suppress her fears when fulfilling her most difficult routines. This is the source of all success, because when you take risks, you can fail, but at the same time, this is the only way to reach new heights in gymnastics. A gymnast's worth is measured by the continuing inclusion of new complex elements into her routine. She continues to perfect such elements, and I think this will take her to even greater heights.
British Columbia, Vancouver, and Expo 86, a spectacular national celebration where Canada will host the world. 5.5 months of entertainment, culture, and friendly people. Come to the province you've never seen.
Come on out!
Come to a world so spectacular.
Join us!
Expo 86, Vancouver. Don't miss it for the world.
Right now, we're going back to our live coverage of gymnastics.
Thank you very much, Bob Neal. We're back here at the Olympic Sports Complex where the uneven parallel bars competition has just been completed. And for the second straight event, the young lady from the Soviet Union, we just saw a profile on her, Elena Shushinova, winds up with a gold medal. She wound up with a gold on the vault. She gets a gold medal on the uneven bars. In second place with the silver medal, her teammate Kolesnikova, while the North Korean young lady, Choi, winds up with the bronze. And that's kind of a good omen for them. They came with only 2 people. They didn't even have a full team to compete in the team competition.
As I said earlier, North Korea has really progressed in gymnastics. This is good proof of that.
One exciting moment about to happen for the Americans right now is the award ceremonies taking place. And these are the competitors from the vault competition, the top 3. There was Shevchenko, who's on the left, in the middle rather. On the left is Elena Shushinova, the gold medalist, and on the extreme right, Joyce Wilborn from the United States. She picks up the first medal the Americans have earned in gymnastics competition. There's the gold medal winner, Elena Shushinova. Trains in Leningrad, as you saw in the profile that we just saw on her moments ago. She scored, Shushinova, a 9.93. Shevchenko, a 9.90. Joyce Wilborn, a 9.788 on the vault, and the first medal for the United States. It's a proud moment for the Americans, and a lot of them in the stands here, and they're very happy.
You know, they have to be going wild back in Paterson, New Jersey, because this is a wonderful moment for Joyce. She absolutely belongs to be up there on that 3rd medal spot, even with the tough competition that was there. She is an outstanding vaulter.
The United States in team competition finished 5th. Joyce was 3rd among the Americans in the team competition, but she really has rallied and done a fantastic job and made America proud as far as gymnastics is concerned today.
Awarding the medals right there is Nellie Kim. She's a top Soviet gymnast and just a crowd favorite, and world audience is all over.
And she has been a judge here on the vault the last couple of days. Her and Nadia Comaneci. Here's the medal being awarded to Joyce Wilborn, Paterson, New Jersey. She's happy. She doesn't talk a lot, but I'll tell you, I'm sure the emotion is going through her right now. She's kind of a shy young lady.
What a thrill to receive your medal from a past Olympic medalist on the vault.
Well, I'm sure you're very familiar with this type of ceremony, Kathy. You've been in this situation, both you and Bart, many times before. As the coach of the Soviet Union, they also award the coach of the winning team or winning country a medal and a certificate. And there are the award ceremonies for the vault Again, Yelena Shushinova of the Soviet Union gets the gold medal. Her teammate Elena Shevchenko the silver, Joyce Wilburn the bronze. And now the Soviet national anthem. Again, congratulations to Shushinova, along with Shevchenko and Wilborn. And I'm sure the people up in North Jersey are having a good time right now celebrating the bronze medal by Joyce Wilborn. Go ahead,
At the beginning of the competition, we had predicted that we'd be hearing that Soviet national anthem quite a few times. In fact, they have won every event in the men's and women's competition, and they only shared the gold medal one time with the Korean in men's gymnastics. But it sure is a proud moment to see an American flag up there on that podium.
It certainly is. The first time in the gymnastics competition we've seen it. And we also expect to have the award ceremony for the uneven bars. Elena Shushinova, again, she's going to be busy today. She's going to keep walking back and forth. She's not going to have time to get ready for her next routine. But she wins the gold medal in the uneven bars, while Vera Kolesnikova, also of the Soviet Union, finishes with a silver. And the North Korean young lady, Choi Mil-yan, gets the bronze. And the three top performers in the uneven bars about to approach the awards podium.
We've been getting a kick out of the translator here as she says when they present the awards, they present the gold, silver, and bronze awards, but at the same time they're giving all of the athletes gifts. And the direct translation from the Russian language is that they're giving them memorable prizes. As if the prizes wouldn't be memorable.
As if the medals are not enough, right?
But if they're giving some of ours in lacquer boxes, Shushinova sure is going to have her share of them to bring home tonight.
As they march in, Yelena Shushinova, Soviet Union. 2 medals already, all gold. You hear the PA announcer. They announce both in American and in Soviet or Russian. Yelena Shushinova, gold medalist, uneven bars. Vera Kolesnikova, 9.85 today on the uneven bars. Shushinova had a 9.95.
Shushinova, of course, lost the all-around championship to Kolesnikova, so I think that she has a little element of revenge in her competition today, as she has literally blown away the competition in the first 2 events that she's competed on, the vault and the uneven bars.
Choi Mil-yan, North Korea, picks up the bronze.
And there's a good shot of our memorable prizes.
One of the young ladies that's part of the International Gymnastics Federation, awarding the prizes and medals.
That's Ellen Berger, and she is head of the Women's Technical Committee in the FIG, and has been for many, many years.
There's Vera Kolesnikova. And the last medal will go to Choi Mil-yan from North Korea. And it's got to be a good moment and a happy moment for a young lady from North Korea. She doesn't look too happy. Oh, there's the smile. Finally, it came up. Okay. Choi Mil-yan of North Korea gets the bronze, and we'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage after this.
As you can see from some of the wide camera shots at the indoor stadium out at the Olympic Sports Complex, the crowds have been ever increasing for all the Goodwill Games competitions, really. They started off very sparse in some of the venues, as you well know, causing some controversy, but a large crowd there for the women's gymnastics today. But there's good reason for that, Nick Charles, because it's something to see, particularly Yelena Shushanova.
Regardless of what country you're from, Bob, it doesn't matter. Naturally, this is the pro-Soviet crowd and its home field advantage, but Yelena Shushanova didn't need any home urging here. She is clearly the best in the world. She's 2 out of 2 so far tonight. Very original, extremely powerful, built a lot like Mary Lou Retton, but that's probably where the similarity ends. Yelena Shushanova is clearly the superior gymnast in the world today, and probably would have won a gold medal had the competition been comparable in '84. Of course, she was 2 years younger then, but she is the best.
Would have been interesting to see how Mary Lou Retton would have competed in this field. Nobody knows, because until they meet head-to-head, which is one of the reasons we had the Goodwill Games. So we're glad we got a chance to see that. Congratulations, I know, are in order for Joyce Wilburn, the first medal for a U.S. gymnast in this very tough competition. We'll be back in just a moment. Please stay with us as we continue coverage of the Goodwill Games.
You're watching the Goodwill Games on the Sports Network.
I'm at the Olympic Sports Complex. It's women's gymnastics, the individual event finals, and you're looking at some of the men and women's team from the United States, the Hayden twins, Phil Cahoy, and some of the young ladies.
Brian Babcock, Jennifer Say, Yolanda Mavity.
A lot of heavyweights here, aren't they? Not only from the American team, but we've seen some of the top Russian and Soviet gymnasts on hand at the competition here as we get ready for the third individual apparatus. They're warming up on the balance beam. This is competition 3. This is the individual event that I find the most intriguing, because the young ladies are working on a piece of wood that's only 4 inches wide. It's 4 feet high and 16 feet long. Kathy?
This is really going to be a great competition. Right now we're watching 30-second warm-ups. That means each girl gets 30 seconds to try and warm up every skill in her balance beam routine. It's best to just get up there and try and learn to relax.
And you know, at this event, there's a very strong point to be made for the Soviet domination of the whole sport of gymnastics, but particularly the balance beam event. The 2 Soviet girls coming into this competition, as you get a look of Nadia Comaneci on the left there, Sharon Valley, our judges, and the beam competition, that Shushanova has a 9.95. Kolesnikova has a 9.9. Now, there are 6 other gymnasts in the competition. All of their scores are only 9.45 to 9.6. They're way behind the 2 top.
And just to make a point about what you were just saying, Bart Connor, in the team competition,
we have 2 of the strongest Soviet gymnasts ever right here in the stands. This is Olga Bicharova, who was the world champion in 1981, and the 1983 world champion, Natalia Yurchenko, from the Soviet Union. Both of these girls, world champions, and yet did not qualify for the final round of competition today. They're not good enough anymore.
Not only Bicharova, but there's another young lady I was reading about, Olga, well, that's Bicharova there. We saw her, I believe, in the United States in April in the competition, Baraksanova. And that was another young lady I was trying to think of who did not make it. That shows you the depth of the Soviet team. But we were talking a little bit before we recognized those young ladies, Bart, about the scores, and you were saying the 2 top scores in the competition are Soviets. Well, in the team competition, there were 5 scores, only 5 scores over 9.7, and they all belong to the Soviets.
Well, of all the events, though, this is where you can make up ground the easiest on balance beams. It's very easy to give away a 10th here, 2 tenths there, and some of the girls can stand and move up in the standings.
This has been, though, Kathy, the lowest scoring event of the 4 events in the women's competition. Why is that? That's unusual.
Why is that? It's because that piece of equipment is 16 feet long, 4 feet off the ground, and not quite 4 inches wide. Need I say more? It's very tough, and when there's a lot of pressure, it's hard to just focus in on exactly what you want to do. If you'll remember, this is where Shushanova's problems began.
Yesterday, yes.
And we have been talking about Shushanova all along. She never makes mistakes. Well, she made 2 major ones in the individual all-around competition. I know she's really going to try and focus in on what she wants to do.
There's another point to be made here as well, that normally the gymnasts, there are 8 gymnasts in the competition in the finals. They are seeded. The top 4 and the bottom 4 are draw at random, but at least the best gymnast gets to go up last. In this case, the top score, 9.95, Shushanova, is actually up first.
And she had a 9.95, as you said. 3rd appearance for her today. She already has 2 gold medals, 1 in the vault, 1 in the uneven bars.
Now, as I said, Shushanova can really be solid as a rock here. She had her problems yesterday, though, and it was on this pass coming up. Very difficult pass. 2 layout step-outs in a row. Look at that.
No problem. I think she's here to show the rest of the world that she is the top. Oh!
Slight balance error there.
I remember both of you saying that she looked a little tired when she made the mistakes in the all-around competition, but she's got a good night's rest last night.
She still had 2 slight bounce breaks. Can you believe that move? I mean, that is near madness. A full twisting back handspring swing down.
There's not much room for error on that. We've seen the girls do that skill, but not with a full twist before.
She's the first. Now, Shushanova doesn't have quite the grace and style as some of the other Soviet gymnasts on this event. But she makes up with it nerve. She's got nerves of steel. Comes her dismount. Round off, double back. Quite hot, but I'm sure she's much more pleased tonight.
Yelena Shushanova, one of the 4 returning members of the Soviet team that won the World Championship in Montreal last year. The other young ladies, Omelianchik, Yurchenko, and Kolesnikova.
Now here's a replay of that full twisting back handspring swing down. Right into a chest stand.
She made a good point in her feature, in her profile, that talking about to be the best in the world, you have to challenge all of the new difficult moves. She certainly does that there.
A 9.95 would assure her of a gold medal in this event. It's not going to be a 9.95. 9.7 is the top, the bottom rather. 9.9 is the top. We'll await the average score from the 6 judges. She doesn't look like she's too happy with her performance there. We do have the low score of 9.7 there, so that may be the reason for the wait. 2 9.7s, a 9.8, and 3 9.9s.
But you have to understand that even though the scores are way up in the 9s, that these Soviet athletes are not pleased unless it's a perfect 10.
She had a few balance breaks in there. So.
Some of the East German women's team looking on.
They look a little disinterested, actually, don't they? Like, what are we going to need to do to beat these girls from the Soviet Union?
Yelena Shushanova, 2 gold medals already today. She would like to pick up a 3rd right here on the balance beam. But remember, Vera Kolesnikova, who comes into the competition with a 9.90, has still to do her routine. Again, we have that situation where the top scorers are leading off, an unusual circumstance in gymnastics.
I think it's difficult for the judges as well. The first competitor out of the blocks, they're usually a little hesitant to throw the big scores, especially if the routine is that excellent, because the judges want to hang on to those big scores in case there are some more outstanding performers later up in the rotation.
And they're well aware that Vera Kolesnikova is coming up.
We saw a shot of Vera Kolesnikova standing there looking at Yelena Shushanova. So just like in the all-around competition, it came down to a battle between the Soviets as who was going to finish first or second. Why are we having this problem again, the 9.7, 9.9s, the disparity in the scores?
Well, had she nailed a perfect routine, I'm sure the score would have gone right up. But she did have those couple of balance breaks. They're not quite sure what to do with it. they still got 7 other gymnasts to come.
That's
but
right.
They know she's one of the top.
And the important point to make here is that the judging is subjective. So when there is a minor break in rhythm or a minor bobble in the exercises, the judges have an opportunity to take from 1/10 of a point up to 3/10 of a point. So some of these judges are more strict, and they're taking a bigger deduction for a minor mistake. So I think that's where the controversy lies. I don't think it's a question of difficulty. It's more a question of execution, and that's a subjective thing.
Number 3, you see her standing waiting patiently. That's Luo Fang. And it's just as hard for the next young lady standing around waiting to perform as it is for the young lady who's just performed, because you're ready to go, and all of a sudden you're put on hold.
In fact, quite a few of us remember from the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles that actually happened to Julianne McNamara. She had to wait on the podium for how long, Kathy? Wasn't it?
Almost 10 minutes.
Almost 10 minutes waiting for the score. And I'm sure that that's when your nerves really start to build up, because if you're actually ready to go, you step up there, you hate to have to wait.
And it's probably worse on the uneven bars because the girls chalk down the bars, and that's important that the chalk is there and you do your routine on chalking it down just before you go up there. Again, that's Luo Fang of China.
Maybe this is good for her. She's getting a little extra practice on the floor, doing a couple of full turns, trying to stay loose.
Let's look again at, as we continue to wait the score for Yelena Shushinova right there. This is a replay.
There's the 2 layout step-outs right in a row. That is a very difficult move. 2 aerial moves in a row.
And you saw the little break there. 9-7-7.
Another little break here.
7-7-5. They finally come up with a score that gives her a total of 19.725. She is the current leader, but remember, Vera Kolesnikova, who also comes into the competition with a 9.9, will be coming up. We'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage after this.
Well, we've said it so much you may be getting tired of hearing it, but it continues to be true. That is, the Soviet gymnasts are, in fact, dominant. Bart Connor was with us on our late-night program a couple of days ago, and he said he feels that the gap between the rest of the world gymnasts athletically and the Soviet Union is growing even wider. Not so much that the U.S., East Germany, Bulgaria, Romania are doing poorly, including China, because as you can see, there's some pretty good gymnasts, but that the Soviet Union has simply really got it going. Finding and grooming young athletes for a career in gymnastics has become something of a science here in the Soviet Union, and one reason is not so much a state secret as it is just a well-established tradition of grassroots.
It's not the facilities or the hope of great riches that draw Soviet children to gymnastics, but whatever the appeal, many start early and stay with it as long as their abilities permit. Access to good coaching and a vast network of gyms is part of the inalienable right of talented young athletes in the Soviet Union. Through the 15 republics, there is a system that identifies potential champions and encourages them through the ranks of local, city, and republic competitions until the weeding process has reduced this open-ended search to a handful of world-class gymnasts. The Soviets consistently produce a crop of internationally high-quality gymnasts due in part to the strong association in their country between sport and national pride. Here, athletics is thought to be a form of expression, not only personal, but also political.
Our school perhaps is famous because our students won several medals in Olympic Games and in European and World Championships. The majority of coaches here are graduates of this school. And after attending the Institute of Sports, they come back because they're proud of the standards we have established here.
Very important, when you have one champion of the town, this boy or this girl must be example for the other in this town.
He went on to say, the champion of the Soviet Union is like a hero to all the other gymnasts. We try to spread such a champion's image to every corner of the Soviet Union.
In our city, Vladimir, you might say gymnastics is in first place. We have a lot of youngsters involved, practically the whole city, and we give more time and attention to the ones that show promise. We have more good prospects coming along. They watch our champions, and I think we ought to be turning out more champions in the years to come.
It's impossible to stop the creative process. The level of achievement will not just stop. If you invent something new, if you get a higher level of results, someone is sure to try and top you, to invent something new.
It would be gymnastics in the air. Now it's gymnastics on the apparatus. But it's more and more, it's go gymnastics like a flying exercising. Flying of the mind, flying of the heart, and flying of the body of gymnasts. So this is, I think, great time for gymnastics, and I'm looking for the great success for the future.
Back live at the Olympic Sports Complex, and you're looking at Vera Kolesnikova. At a 9.90, she's getting ready to work on the balance beam, and she has a good chance of taking the gold medal away from Elena Shushanova. Elena had a 9.775, and she's currently the leader with a 19.725. But Kolesnikova, all she needs to tie for a gold medal is a 9.825, and that's where the story lies right now as the two Soviets continue to battle each other. Remember, Shushanova already has 2 gold medals in the competition, and here's Kolesnikova.
It's really hard to beat this girl on this event. It's not that she's so spectacular. She doesn't do that many hard tricks, but she doesn't miss. She is so solid on this event.
And actually, this is the first time today that Shushanova has even opened the door for Kolesnikova to sneak in for a gold medal.
Well, they battled for the all-around yesterday, and it was Kolesnikova who came out on top. And now, for the first time today, she has a chance to take the gold away from her teammate once again. She did it in the all-around. The applause for the young lady you're watching, Kolesnikova. She had a 9.9 on the beam also in the all-around competition yesterday.
Now here's the hardest skill in her routine. 2 back handsprings, lay out, step out. Not quite as perfect as it usually is, but the most they could take is 1/10 of a point. Now the rest of her routine is actually very stock. She doesn't do too many more skills of value.
And actually there she did just a back walkover, and that's unusual, really. Usually they do a back walkover into a layout backflip or a piked backflip.
But fortunately for her, the name of the game is stay on and give no deductions. She has a nice, confident style here.
But if I can be honest, she's not doing anything. She's all over the beam. She's not doing any acrobatic skills. She's doing pretty moves. But I don't think she's doing the big tricks that we saw Shushanova do.
Here comes her big trick. She's setting up for a dismount. The only one done in this competition. Watch it. It's a triple twist. Perfect landing.
She saved the best for last.
I think so.
And look at the applause she gets from her teammate, Yelena Shushanova. They're battling for the gold and the silver right now, and maybe both will walk away with the gold. You never can tell.
Well, by the book, there are no deductions there. She has her difficulty. She ends with a very difficult triple twist. And she does it better than anyone I've ever seen.
You know, she only needs a 9.85 to take over the lead, and she had that little bobble early in the exercise. But with this outstanding triple twist, watch her finish 1, 2, 3,
and that is nailing a landing. I think she's going to get the big score.
Because Shushanova only had a 9.775. She is in the lead with a 19.725 total. But Kolesnikova of the Soviet Union, you're watching her now, 17 years of age.
You would think after all of this week of competition that Shushanova ought to know not to open the door for Kolesnikova, because once you do, boy, she's going to sneak in there.
One mistake. And she's anxiously awaiting the score. We have some preliminary scores up on the board. 9-9-0. That will just about wrap it up for Kolesnikova to pick up the gold medal on the beam. And right now, Yelena Shushanova is looking at a silver. We'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage after this.
We'll return with more Turner Network Television Goodwill Games coverage after this from our local stations.
Charlie Neal along with Kathy Johnson and Bart Connor, and we're back here live at the Olympic Sports Complex. And let's watch a young lady from Bulgaria. Her name is Diana Dedeva. She comes into the competition with a 9.60, and she has a chance at a medal.
She is one fiery competitor.
She became the ace of Bulgarian gymnasts back in June, winning the national all-around title.
Now here comes a very hard run. Back handspring, layout, layout. Little trouble with the landing, but she recovered quite well.
Okay, Kathy, here's a quiz for you. Who does this girl remind you of? One of the famous American gymnasts from quite a few years back.
That's easy. She reminds me of Rhonda Schwann. Rhonda was a top gymnast back around 78 and 79.
She's the same fiery style, doesn't she?
She sure does. Another slide balance break. She's really determined, though. She's not letting them go. Standing back pike. Routine is a little stop and go, a little choppy. Doesn't quite have the flow that it should. Preparing for the dismount. She needs to stick. Pike double dismount. Very difficult off the balance beam.
Had a little step. She needed a 9.65 to tie at least Luo Fang of China for a bronze medal. Luo Fang was in third place, so we'll await her score. That's Diana Dedeva of Bulgaria. A 9.60 coming in, and here we are, getting ready for our next event, our final event, which is the floor exercise. Meanwhile, the scores after the balance beam competition are now final. Vera Kolesnikova of the Soviet Union walks away with the gold to go with the silver that she earned on the bars, while Yelena Shushanova picks up a silver to go with the 2 golds she's already earned. Diana Dedeva, the young lady we just saw from Bulgaria, wins a bronze, the second medal that the Bulgarians have won in the gymnastics women's competition. They won a silver in teams competition. And we'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage after this.
Turner Network Television Goodwill Games coverage continues after this short break.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. I heard you say they had a flower named after. Maybe we can send a dozen Kolesnikovas to our favorite young lady. We're getting ready for the final event in the Individual Apparatus Finals, the floor exercise. They'll be working on this carpet we have grown to love. It's 40 by 40 feet. And our first young lady that we'll see is from the United States, Hope Spivey. Hope scored a 9.70 in the preliminary competition. There she is.
And she is a spunky little competitor.
She lives in Allentown, Pennsylvania. 4'8", 81 pounds. She's 14 years of age. She says her idol is a young lady she's going to be competing with in this floor exercise, Oksana Omelianchik. And she'll be right behind Hope, in fact, as she says that the Soviets taught her how to discipline themselves. And when they were touring this past spring, she got a chance to meet the Soviets and get to know them pretty well. Hope Spivey from Allentown, Pennsylvania.
One of the greatest qualities that she has as a gymnast is that she's very spunky. And you notice that from the Soviet gymnast. That's the style of the leading gymnast these days, is very spunky, light, high approach to the sport.
She finished second in the all-arounds recently at the Nationals.
So many years in the past, we've had gymnasts who have won with a very stern, disciplined look, but she's fun to watch.
Comes in with a 9-7. Hope Spivey.
Look at the look in her eyes. I think she's going to go after it. The first tumbling run with a full twisting double back. Perfect for it. Builds excitement. Here comes that middle run. Front tuck through to a double twist. Little change of pace. For her last tumbling run. And a double tuck. Perfect landing. You couldn't ask for any better.
Hope Spivey, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
What a great exercise. Every tumbling run was right on.
This is probably going to be the toughest competition that we've seen so far because of such great talent working on the floor exercise, and we have a couple 9-9s as we look at part of Hope's routine.
She has a lot of speed and power in her tumbling. See it right here? She takes off, does a full twist on the first somersault, and then does another back somersault. What a great landing.
Here she is.
This is her coach right here, Donna Strauss. She's also the assistant coach for the United States team here.
Hope seems to be a little happy with her routine, and she has every reason to be. She came in with a 9.70.
Here's the last tumbling run. This is a very difficult tumbling run. A double back. She gets tremendous height, perfect position. And the best part about it is that she really knows how to pull the rotation around so that she lands right on top of it. Excellent work.
Again, the scores are a little slow.
We've talked about that all week, as a matter of fact, that rather than having the usual FIG internationally rated judges at this competition, we actually have some new judges. In fact, we've seen their faces. Nadia Comaneci is judging, Nelly Kim from the men's competition, Alexander Dityatin and Alexei Tkachev. So we have some of the famous gymnasts are actually coming in back to the sport and helping judge.
So in other words, we're not only grooming new gymnasts, we're grooming new judges as well.
And they're holding us up, the new gymnasts. But I guess it is hard, making up your mind, watching such great routines time after time. And especially, it seems that a lot of the problems occur with the first gymnast, even though Hope did not come in with, let's say, the highest score in the competition. But the first competitors on each apparatus seem to be the ones that we find the hardest. Even the crowd is starting to get into it a little bit now. Hope Spivey anxiously awaiting the score.
It is tough to go first. The judges really scrutinize that first routine out.
Because they know they have some heavy hitters coming up like Oksana Omelianchik, who we spoke of earlier. Here come the score on Hope Spivey. Also, Joyce Wilborn of the United States will be in this competition. Marilla Sidon, Elena Shushanova, and she comes up with a 9.75 average if you throw out the top and the bottom scores. And they don't seem to be able to even agree on that. We can do it quicker than they can.
Here once again is the full twisting double back at the top of the exercise.
Now they've given her a 9.9 by one judge, and it's still 9.775. So that's not a bad score for Hope Spivey. She finished with a 9.70 in the preliminary and a 9.70 in the all-around. So she finishes with a total of 19.475. Hope Spivey, but Oksana Omelianchik, who you're going to love this routine, I'm sure. Just watch. She's a joy.
She is one of my favorite gymnasts, and in particular on this event. Listen to the music.
We've heard it for the last couple of days, and we've enjoyed it every time.
And I never get tired of it. Here's her first tumbling run. A full in, back pike, and she tumbles out of it. First of all, that's such a difficult tumbling run, but to tumble out of it.
She had a 10 on the floor yesterday.
Now watch the facial expression here. She is just delightful. Here comes her second run. Watch this double twist, punch front. She's going to tumble back in the other direction. Round off 1.5 twisting dive roll.
She's the favorite coming in right now. Of course, Shushanova's a force always to be reckoned with.
This routine just doesn't stop. You have got to be in top shape to do this routine. Preparing for last tumbling run. And a double pike. Tumbles out of it as well.
Oh my.
She has everything.
Omelianchik, Soviet Union, 16 years of age, 4'8", 73 pounds, and she's happy.
She scored a 10 yesterday, and
she waves to the crowd as she goes off. Let's watch it once again.
Here's her full twisting double back. She does it in pike position. Now watch here. She lands and keeps right on moving out of it, a back handspring.
She actually was a little lower on that than she was in yesterday's competition.
She was, but she sure covered it well.
She had a 10 in the floor exercise in the all-around competition. She finished third in the all-around. In fact, she finished third in the team competition because of people like Shushanova and Kolesnikova ahead of her. She had a 9.90 in the team competition, and a 10 today would assure her a gold. Now, how about the judges today as opposed to the other days that she did this routine? We've added a couple, number one.
We've added a couple, and of course, we have different judges on different events. So these judges have not seen this performance all week long.
9 9s for 5 judges, a 10 for one other judge. Let's see if they bring that 10 down or bring up a 9.95. But anyway, a 9.9 is her average score right now, and that's what she came into the competition with. So right now, she is our current leader. This is Omelianchik with a 19.80. Joyce Wilborn of the United States is on deck. She would have to have a perfect 10 to tie for first. She comes in with a 9.8.
Joyce has been near perfect in the last 2 days of competition on this event. Every tumbling pass has been right on.
A 9.675 would tie her for second right now with Hope Spivey.
I'm sure her heart's pounding right about now.
She already has a bronze medal. She picked that up on the vault.
The Soviet audience really likes her here, though. They get into this music.
Oh, a major mistake there.
Looks like she stepped right out of bounds.
Yeah, I saw one of the judges raise the red flag, which means that she will get a 1/10 of a point deduction for stepping out of bounds. Too bad, because it was a great start to that exercise.
The second tumbling run. High double twist. It's actually a very easy middle tumbling run, but she doesn't so well. Oh.
All right. A little bit of America.
There's no question where she's from. That was a nice triple turn. Joyce has really worked hard on her dance elements. She's always been a strong tumbler. Last tumbling run, a full in back out. Perfect landing.
And she's going to get a minor deduction for that stepping out of bounds. We saw the flag go up on her. But other than that,
it was beautiful. It's only 1/10 of a point for stepping out of bounds.
And she could wind up with another, maybe a 9-8. We'll see what happens, Kathy.
Now, Joyce, as I said, has really worked on her weaknesses. One of them is flexibility. Now, here we're looking at her first tumbling run. Is that full in, back out. Now, you'll see right here, she over-rotates just a little bit, steps back, and just an inch out of bounds. She's really worked hard, though, on her weaknesses, her dance and her flexibility. And I spoke to her earlier, and she was telling me how she goes about doing that.
Well, I do, for my right leg split, which I have to get all the way down in a 180-degree split, I have to put weights on my legs and sit in between two mats for at least 5 minutes so I can go down further.
The scores are up for Joyce Wilborn. And that averages out to a 9-9. I'll tell you, if that holds up, you think they're a little generous?
No, I think, you know, it was a perfect exercise except for the step out of bounds. But what they're going to do is take 1/10 of a point off that. The score was actually 9.875 average. They're going to take 1/10 of a point off because going out of bounds.
So 9.775. We're looking at Mirela Saidan. She's from Romania, coming in with a 9.750.
Now, the Romanians really sent a young team here. This is their top junior team. They're very young and inexperienced, but they've got some good stuff, too.
She cannot get a first place. She needs a 9.85 to tie for second with Joyce Wilborn.
A double layout.
Wow, what a great start.
She can't be more than 4 feet 3 inches tall, and that was probably 6 feet in the air.
And you mentioned inexperience in terms of international competition, but certainly the level is outrageous.
Front pike step out, through to a double tuck. A little short on the landing, but a tough pass. As always, the Romanians have very unique floor routines, including the music.
9.725 would tie her for third place with Hope Spivey.
Tumbling run. Going hard. And a full in.
Nice.
Just perfectly. I wouldn't want to be a judge right now.
Mirela Saidan of Romania, 14 years of age, from Bucharest, 78 pounds. We saw her earlier on the vault. She performed. And as I mentioned, she needed a 9.825 to tie Joyce Wilborn for second.
Now watch this first pass. The height she gets off the floor. The second somersault actually is higher than the first. Double layout. She lands it perfectly.
The score is coming up pretty quickly right now on Saidan from Romania. The judges.
I only saw that one problem. She landed a little short on the middle tumbling run.
9.875, so she has moved into second place ahead of Joyce Wilborn of the United States. And more Goodwill Games coverage will continue right after this. The final event in the women's individual event finals. And it's the floor they're working on as you look at Yelena Shushanova. And she comes into the competition with a 9.90. She's already picked up 3 medals today, a silver and 2 golds. As you look at the United States team looking on, meanwhile, the story is the battle for first place between Shushanova and Kolesnikova. I make that Omelianchik, rather, even though Kolesnikova's been battling all day. That name just happens to stick. But also, the battle for third place is going on right now. Joyce Wilborn may be moved out, depending on the performance by this young lady, Yelena Shushanova, out of third. Saidan of Romania is in second. Wilborn is in third, but Shushanova has yet to perform. Omelianchik holding down the top spot right now. She had a 9.90. Shushanova needs a 9.90 to tie, a 9.925 to win the gold outright.
And this routine is stocked full of difficulty. This first tumbling run, where she had problems in the all-around competition, landed a little short. Pulling back out. She didn't do the double layout. Probably a smart move. Comes a very difficult pass. Side 1 3/4 somersault.
Think she knows what she has to do?
I'm sure she does. But I tell you what, she's being a little conservative, actually. She usually performs a double layout at the opening. She did a full end, which is still very difficult.
Yeah, I think the point to be made here is that she can do every trick in the book. So any day, just decide, well, I think I'll do the full end today instead of the layout double back.
You know, she had only a 9.40 on the floor in the all-arounds, and she made a mistake, which eventually hurt her.
Double tuck.
Eventually hurt her for the all-around title, but she's working hard and performing well today.
No problem.
Yelena Shushanova. She already has a team goal, a silver from the all-around, a vault goal, a gold on the bars, and a silver on the balance beam.
You can see here, as she takes off on this side 1 3, she's up in the air. She's going to straddle, do a 1 3/4 front flip there, duck her head under, and roll out.
You know, she won a silver medal in this event at the World Championships last year. You know who won the gold?
Omelianchik.
Omelianchik. So this is maybe sweet revenge for Shushanova.
It's so hard to compare these two gymnasts.
I think she's doing something very smart, though, in a way, is that you mentioned that she might be going a little conservative. Well, according to the way the judges have been going here today, you can't leave any room for deductions. Well, I think she decided that was the smart way to go. Go clean.
I think she just got the gold. And looking at the scores that are coming up across the way, she sees them. She's happy. 9-9, 10, 9-9, and 3 10s. She has 4 10s and 2 9-9. A 9-9-2-5 would give her the gold outright. And they're waiting to average it, the top and the bottom. There she is. She has to be happy with her performance. She's looking for another goal. It would be her third of the day, a 9-9-7-5. She just wrapped it up. And there's Omelianchik, who will walk away with the silver medal right now, and we'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage in just a moment.
You saw just won the gold in the floor exercises, and Vera Kolesnikova, who last night won the gold in the individual all-around. And last night, as I told you, the Soviet Union named a flower after Vera Kolesnikova. Also last night, after winning that women's all-around, Mr. Donald Kendall, the chairman of Pepsi-Cola, had a special award for her. Let's look.
And now Pepsi-Cola has the pleasure of presenting an award to the outstanding gymnast of this event. And it's a beautiful Russian lady, which is a symbol of a Russian fairy tale of grace and beauty. And what could be more fitting to present to Vera Kolesnova than this beautiful trophy.
Vera Kolesnikova, what a performer. We'll be right back.
Artyomov is such an elegant swinger. Beautiful giant swing, both backward and frontward, and a nice laid-out double back.
We saw him in the all-around competition in which he won a bronze medal, but behind his countrymen Korolev and McGillney, as you see some of the rhythmic gymnasts warming up along the sideline, and we look at part of Artyomov's routine again.
There's a beautiful inverted iron cross. Whip it to an L.
Yolanda Mavety of the United States getting ready to work on the uneven bars.
This exhibition is really a great opportunity for Yolanda. She was our alternate for this competition, so she didn't get to compete. She'll get this chance to perform in front of the Soviet crowd. Sedelchev. Stalled her to handstands, giant swing, and the dismount, front with a half.
Oh, very nice. Yolanda Mavety. Tarasenko and Stepchenkov of the Soviet Union acrobats.
Work. A one-arm straddled, pressed to a handstand, and then lowered back down and pressed back up.
Barty makes that look so easy.
You know what is so incredible about this is that, oh, look at that, a one-armed lever. All the gymnasts, and artistic gymnasts as well as rhythmic gymnasts, can really appreciate the amount of strength and the amount of balance that these gymnasts acrobats have to have. It's a very special act. It's not like just any gymnast can walk in and do a great deal of training.
It's hard to do a one-arm handstand, period, much less with somebody under you, right?
I know this is a lot of fun for the gymnasts to see other types of their sport.
Oh, what a good move. That was just like a Diamondov on the parallel bars. Of course, his parallel bars are his lower man's two arms. That's all he's got to work with.
Wow. Right to a plan.
Tarasenko and Stepchenkov, Soviet Union acrobats, and we'll be back with more of our Goodwill Games coverage in just a moment.
Чемпионка мира в командном периоде.